Well, hello there, and welcome to A Film a Day with me, Jordan Woodling. Well, it has been a while since I've dived into a Ken Loach, and I thought I would go for something much more contemporary than the last visit we made with Poor Cow. I was, over the course of months, I've been pondering Ken Loach, because I definitely wanted to revisit his work. And I was considering, of course, going for the classic seminal Kes, or more recently, the incredibly popular I, Daniel Blake, which were two, huge Ken Loach films from his early career and, of course, from his recent career. But happenstance and necessity meant that I needed to choose a film quickly, and that was convenient. And, of course, they recently had the Ken Loach's most recent film on Netflix, that is Sorry We Missed You. Of course, Ken Loach, as demonstrably with I, Daniel Blake, and, charting back to his career, although with a more refined, keen vision, he wants to use his creative platform to, of course, highlight the ills of a modern system. I mean, all the way back from Kes, even from Poor Cow, his films have always been, of course, social realist. His films have always been commentary on the societal pressures of government, on individual people, and the idea of a cold, unfeeling system crushing down the working class man. That has always been the theme to Ken Loach as a career overview. But what I will credit is the fact that, of course, his style and his message have become more refined and more adapted to the conversations of the modern era. And Sorry We Missed You is incredibly prescient where it comes to discussing the nature of the gig economy and how that represents or creates an incredibly dangerous and corrosive environment for a working class man. So, the film follows our lead. I want to say his name is Reese, although I'm a little bit concerned because one of the actors' names is Reese Stone. So, our lead and his family, who are the Turners, and he's gone to, he's very much a sort of representation of a standard working class man who goes from, has worked in many different fields. He's been very much a tradesman type. Whatever he could do, he's turned his hands to, and he's been good at it. Or at least he's been capable, but necessity means he's had to adapt as times have adapted. And so so Ali played by Chris Hitchens plays him, by the way, and he gives an incredible performance of someone who is desperately trying to make the best of an incredibly difficult and yet commonplace problem. Something where, there's nothing unique in his struggle. There's nothing particularly special about his circumstances. He just is being buried under the pressures of needing to be useful in an age of automation and of more cold requirements. And so you follow him as he becomes a driver, a delivery driver, but what he's told from the off is that he is not working for a company. He's essentially his own business. He is a franchise, and so therefore he gets to work his own hours. He is essentially self-employed. He will make most of the money, besides a small cut from the depot and the companies who he's delivering for. He is the architect of his own destiny. So he is told. Of course, in this particular era, as we examine things like 0-hour contracts, self-employment, the gig economy, it's become much more obvious that when companies have done this, instead of allowing people autonomy in their own work environment, it's simply created a distance in liability, a certain irresponsibility where it comes to liability. So therefore, all of a sudden, our lead is, he has to work 14 hours a day because that is how many deliveries he's given. Now, he could not. He could work it around his hours, but because of the sheer scale of deliveries, he simply has to work 14, 15-hour days. Of course, what that also indicates is the cold nature of the system, that he is almost a drone, that his function is, people do not recognize that this is a person. He is simply facilitating the arrival of people's parcels. And so he has a variety of different encounters with people, some of which are fairly amiable, some of which are a little confrontational, but they're fleeting. And it strips away that sense of human connection because he is simply there to do a very specific role, and you see it slowly chip away at his humanity. At the same time, Ken Loach isn't interested in just presenting that one version of it, because we have Abby Turner, his wife, played by Debbie Honeywood, who is works in the care industry, and of course her job is to is essentially like a care nurse, go from the home to home of elderly and infirm people to make sure they're being looked after, that then that they are able to be fed, that they don't have any issues with using the toilet. If they need cleaning up, she does that. Whatever her job is to help those people the best she can. But what you also see, and of course this is Ken Loach's sort of hostility towards the public sector and his sort of post-Thatcherite aggression towards the way that the government facilities do things, is that because of, again, the scale that she is needed and the nature of her role, she is being given fleeting moments with the people she is caring for, that she goes from home to home, having to very quickly feed people, make sure that their needs are met, make sure that they are clean and hygienic, and then off to the next client. And of course, you see the parallel between what she does and what her husband does, and the ways that Ricky. That's why I remember his name, not Ricky. Ricky and Abby. The way that you see how they are no longer working in industries where it was about people and interaction with people. It becomes about service, but it becomes about almost mechanical service. Almost to the level where they are machines. And similarly, again, she is working these beyond hours level of work, to the point where, one of her clients, because she has to call them clients, even though she herself comments that she hates it. One of them said, well, whatever happened to the working day, your standard working day? Because, we're at that point where rather than it being hours-based, it's function-based, and if it needs doing, it has to be done. And that means 12, 14, 15-hour days. And, of course, that is more than anyone needs. But, of course, necessity means that they both feel that they have to do those jobs, and, of course, they need the money. And you see, of course, that destroy their home lives. It's slowly, almost venomously, just makes its way into their family. It slowly breaks their relationship apart, and you see, of course, it has effects on their kids, who are, one teenager who's about 15, 16, and one 11-year-old, and you see the ways in which their absence, their inability to spend time with their children, to the point where Ricky even takes his daughter, Liza, on a day's work with him, just so he can spend time with her. And of course, is reprimanded once that's discovered, because the function what I think Ken Loach is trying to say here is that it is about, the inhumanity of it all and the way it slowly chips away at relationships, not just between driver and receipt, and purchaser, not just between carer and client, but even in the homes of these people. You see it, the way that the son is acting out, or the daughter is being almost traumatized, as we see their family life being, just as I say, eroded. And of course, Ken Loach is trying to make a comment about the fact that we are turning humans, we are dehumanizing humans and making their environment inhuman, even though they're being told, this is all, your choice. This is all on you. You choose, you set your hours, you do what you need to do. But of course, people can't then take holidays. People can't then, if they have an issue at home, they can't take time off because they are then saying, well, you're the business, so I have to I'm going to have to charge you £100 for all the parcels that are not being delivered. And you see it escalate, and you see the ways in which all of a sudden autonomy becomes so like a almost different kind of enslavement. And yeah, it's again, of course, Ken Loach famously wants to make the sort of almost satirical, almost cautionary tale horror stories about, how these systems don't care about us, how their function is almost to strip away everything, the compassion and empathy within individual people, and ultimately destroy, the goodwill and the desire to work hard of the everyday man. And it's a good film. It's a very good film. It uses a very sort of Mike Leigh improvisational style. You get that real sense of, a lot of scenes feel a little bit like people don't quite know what to say to each other. They have a semblance of it, but it's not tight or polished. It feels very realistic. It feels very as if someone's walking past and they have a line to say to each other, but they aren't entirely clear what they're saying, to create that sense of reality. You get that voyeurism aspect to it, where you a lot of scenes are shot and framed in a way that almost makes you feel like you're just observing this man trying to live his life, all the pressures he's under, and yet you're sitting there watching it, unwilling or unable to assist or act in any way. And of course, the point being about our societal inability to act or change the sort of these systems. Yeah, this is Ken Loach. It's a very good film. It's I was worried how dark it was going to get, because of course famously can go to pretty hard places, and I was worried that it was going to get too melodramatic, but it walks a very good line between showing subtle ways in which tragedy is unfolding, and also having these moments of genuine distress and despair. Very sort of intimate film, very good, a good experience. Anyway, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment below, and share the video, because it's all helping in the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notifications of when new videos are uploaded. And check out my back catalogue of over 200 videos. Follow me on Twitter at Jordan_Woodley, where I tweet about TV shows and films, and I share these videos once they're uploaded to YouTube, either the day of or the day after. Thank you for joining me. Take care.